Hello, audience. This is Dr. Hriday Sharma here, myself a senior fellow with South Asia Democratic Forum. So we also have like a close friend and dear colleague, Tapas, and today we'll basically be discussing on the latest topics of concern in South Asia, like the latest topics, which of course is the Indus Water Treaty suspension by India and the repercussions and the emerging repercussions that would come up out of this, and also the Pahalgam terror attack. We'll try to keep it really to the point, and so it's basically a general overview. I won't say it's a expert opinion, but we definitely need to share our own viewpoints and also like explore what are the different aspects connected to it. By the way, I am a lawyer. So is my colleague, like Tapas, who is also a lawyer. And we won't be getting into the legalities of the Indus Water Treaty suspension, which is also is, of course, a very thrilling and nuanced aspect. But today, I think we'll more be talking in general, like how the Indus Water Treaty suspension is emerging and how the state of affairs could like emerge in the coming week, in this coming week, and possibly in the month ahead. So Tapas, please share your thoughts and maybe introduce yourself like in a one liner.
uh, I'm an international human rights lawyer, and both of us are working with South Asia Democratic Forum. So, about this situation, this is the Hindu says that armed forces have complete operational freedom, and they quoted Prime Minister Modi. So, what do you think, Hriday, about this? This is today's news.
I won't be taking up any religious or sectarian standpoint on this topic. This is a very sensitive topic to all Indians, and I duly respect all sections, all political sections, and the viewpoints they have put forth. But of course, like, there has definitely been some extra territorial elements involved in the whole episode, involved in the whole gory episode, like a very bloody episode, which happened on 22nd of April in Pahalgam. And subsequent to that, there has been a huge uproar across the country. The government is bound to take actions, which definitely is a need in order, not just the Pakistani government, which of course, like in fact, their prime minister has said like Pakistan has no links to the latest terror attack. He has categorically mentioned it. However, there are other elements in the country over which the government does not have full control, and they are powerful actors, including terrorist organizations. It'll be a big claim to say the Pakistani army helping them in some ways. However, there could be a certain amount or certain officials like who could be linked. Nothing is proved as of now. Nothing is proved as of now. So the whole uproar has been huge. Like Indian media is gaga over the whole episode, and as a retaliation, India has unilaterally suspended the World Bank brokered the Indus Water Treaty, which came up in 1960. So I'll very briefly like say what the Indus Water Treaty is. So it's now quite wide open, like everybody knows. Still, the division has been as such. The eastern rivers, those are Ravi, Bias, and Satluj, where given, I mean, the waters would go into Pakistan, the eastern rivers, and I'm so sorry. The eastern rivers would come to India, and the western rivers would go to Pakistan. And the western rivers, of course, as I said, like the Indus water. So it's Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. So now India, I mean, forcibly or unilaterally or high-handedly, definitely has taken a step this time. Like it says, we are unilaterally suspending the Indus Water Treaty, and I think this is a big step. This might have repercussions in the broad agrarian states in the country, including Punjab and Sindh provinces, and also Punjab and Sindh primarily, I should say. Like some areas even running into like very small areas into Baluchistan, even very small, which in fact like had a drought in 2022. So things, I mean, you cannot like if you clap, you need to have both hands. So there has been some amount of like clapping both sides. But who is correct, who is wrong? I am not the right person, or SADF would, of course, not be the right one to take a official stand on this sensitive issue. Maybe we can definitely share some of our more thoughts. So, Tapas, like, how do you see things happening? Like, what is the general, I mean, how people are perceiving it within Europe? Like, how do you see things happening? Like, how people are seeing this whole India, Pakistan, two nuclear power states, like about to collide or colliding in a very small manner. Like, what is the general standpoint?
I can tell you about what Deutsche Welle is thinking about. Deutsche Welle actually recently reporting about what is China thinking about it, and they said in various reports that China, even though they have condemned the terrorism, but they have sided with Pakistan. They have reiterated their strong support for Pakistan. You know, their Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, he has also emphasized China's understanding of Pakistan's legitimate security concerns. However, there are Russian reaction as well, and there is Israel reaction. And you know that both of these two countries has strongly backed India in the wake of this recent terrorist attack. So, for example, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko, he has met with Indian Ambassador Vinay Kumar in Moscow, and he has expressed Russia's readiness to work with India to counter global terrorism. Same is the reaction of Israel. Now, USA, that is very interesting because I have gone through the USA media reports, and they have very summarily they have sensed the risk of military escalation, and the media is talking about impact on domestic politics and international involvement. So USA is actually thinking about it. And when you are talking about Western countries, we cannot deny that UK has also expressed their actively engaging with both the countries. For example, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy, he has spoke with Indian External Foreign Minister Jai Shankar and Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister Isaac Dar to discuss the situation. And most interesting is the reaction of European nations, because European nations has condemned the terrorist attack. They have reiterated their stance against all sorts of terrorism, but they haven't supported any country clearly. That's what I get from the first post, Hindu and Deutsche Welle. The interesting take is about India's communication with Taliban's, because you know Afghanistan is another country which is bordering with Pakistan, and Taliban's reputation about the brewing ground of terrorism. So India's engagement with Taliban, people are looking into it very carefully, that what they have briefed the Taliban regime, especially Taliban's interim foreign minister Maulavi Amir Khan Muttaqi has been informed about the situation in Kabul. So people are looking into that how they will react. So what do you think about the internal reactions?
In India is fuming at the moment, and they have, I mean, we have valid reasons to fume. The whole episode, as I said, was a very gory episode, like attacks on innocent tourists who had been to Pahalgam. They were having a good time. Like the whole incident happened in a very ruthless manner, and I'll again not get into the details of like what the media has presented about the attack. But subsequent to the attack, there has definitely been some uproar. I mean, from all sections. I mean, there is a unified uproar in the country that such attacks are condemnable by all means and all ways. Now, India again has valid reasons to back off from many bilateral treaties. However, the Indus Water Treaty had been, I mean, it was the pillar of cooperation between the two countries. It was actually the pillar of cooperation between the two countries because it had stood the test of time, and like it had stood the test of time. So India's bold step. Now, Pakistan, you need to note, like, is a more agrarian. I mean, it's an agrarian country per se. The agrarian community, there are good number of I mean, I will not get into the exact figures, but a huge population is very dependent on the agriculture. So I say Punjab, Sindh, and also like some other southern districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. like would be affected if the waters are, I mean, waters would not be stopped. By the way, it's not like, again, there is a fine line on this. Like, this is something not everyone would know clearly. So what India is saying, they will stop data sharing and they will not like prior inform Pakistani authorities of any changes that might happen. So it's not actually the water sharing. So there is some data sharing, like and advance notice of new projects. So that, again, if India stops sharing information about new projects, they would definitely have downstream implications. So there are questions, like Pakistan is very concerned, and one important legal point I would like to basically refer to here. There is a doctrine. I mean, you are a lawyer, you'd know about this doctrine, rebus sic stantibus. So what rebus sic stantibus basically says, it's like maintaining I mean, till the point the whole fundamentals stand as same, the agreement would stay in place. However, if the fundamentals get disturbed, there is no reason. I mean, there is no reason that either of the parties to an agreement, they can not violate, they can move out from the arrangement. So this is basically the legal premise where India is taking resort to. I mean,
I
this
will
is one thing.
interfere. I will Rita, I'll interfere here because we have 3 more minutes left. But what I'm to say that this is my own gut feeling that
Yeah,
given the situation in Bangladesh, in three sides of India's border,
absolutely,
period,
absolutely.
I mean, countries, there are countries who can get, I mean, who are waiting to have some sort of, anomalies within India. So what from my own understanding that why India has went ahead to take non-military measures like cancellation of a bilateral treaty, because they want to avoid the war at this moment given the situation. Rather than that, probably they will go ahead and do something like, their surgical strike thing, like things like identifying where the terrorists are and just attack on those targets. That is what is my gut feeling is.
Okay, one thing, like India not sharing, not, I mean, India backing out in some ways. Of course, India will not, it's not, India is not saying it will stop the water. There's no question of stopping the water in any way. What India said, like, we'll not be sharing some data and information about new projects. Now, this China had already done with India during the last 2017 2020 standoff. Like one was in Doklam, the other one again nearby to Doklam. So China had stopped sharing information temporarily about the Yarlung Zangbo River, which is basically in India we call it the Brahmaputra River. So water, what I mean to say, cannot be a weapon of compelling the other party. Yes, India should take stance, but Pakistan is not, it's not simply the government is not in control of everything. Like, as you said, Taliban
Definitely.
is a bigger umbrella. There are many different fractions within that whole umbrella. And now, if India acts in such a manner, like suspending the treaty completely, so there would, of course, be repercussions coming in from Chinese side, which again, India will be prompted to take action against Bangladesh, not so friendly government at the moment. So, I mean, the upstream countries should not use water as a tool of whether diplomacy or anything beyond that. Like, it is a what I mean, India is not a party to the UN convention, UN Water Courses Convention 1997, if I'm correct, like if I'm getting the name correct. So, India is not a party. So India is not bound by international law pertaining to rivers or water sharing. So which is what is giving India the free hand to do. I mean, the media has hyped it. India has not as yet, like, literally stopped sharing data, or this is in process. So I think, like, things have got little normal lately, like at least in the last 1 2 days, like starting like this week, last week. This was a big topic of discussion. Now we'll have to see whether both countries are in a mood to collide, or I mean, get more active
Yeah.
against terrorism. So this remains the big question, like at this hour.
Okay, Hriday, we will stop at this. Let's meet next week
Yep.
to discuss further on
Okay.
how things
Perfect.
escalate. And thank you very much, listeners, whoever joined
Yeah.
with us on
Maybe
YouTube or on LinkedIn. Tune in for the next week.
maybe I get to hear you speaking more the next time. Thank you all. Thank you.